Hello everyone. I'm going to be showing you how to install FS3 version 2.0 in this video. Simply follow the instructions with me for a smooth installation. The install process has changed slightly from the last version of FS3. In this updated version, a post-GRE SQL database needs to be created. The GitHub link is provided in the description box down below. Please check it out. Let's get started. Before installing FS3, there are 5 prerequisites you need to meet. First, you need to install Go version 1.15+. Second, you need Node.js version 14.0+. Third, a post-GRE SQL database needs to be pre-built for FS3 server usage. Fourth, a running IPFS node is needed for car file generation, file uploading, and storage. Lastly, a running Lotus node is needed for car file information generation, deal sending, and deal retrieval. A full node is not mandatory for the FS3 server. However, if you do not have a full node, a light node, which is configured to connect to a full node, is required. Now that you have all the necessary tools, we can open the command lines interface to start our installation process. There are 3 steps to complete in order to install the most updated version of FS3. To start, we need to set up the post-GRE SQL database. The database is used for storing deal information. Next, we are going to install from the source code to generate executable files. The last step is to run the standalone FS3 server. After all the processes are completed, we can open the FS3 browser and start using FS3 services. Let's start with the post-GRE SQL database setup. We need to install, connect, and create the dataset to make it work. To begin with, let's install post-GRE SQL on Ubuntu. To install post-GRE SQL, first execute the following command to create the file repository configuration. You can go to our GitHub README page or the Fileswan website under Documentation to copy the command lines. Next, import the repository sign-in key with the command lines provided on README or the Fileswan user guide. After that, update the package list with the sudo apt-get update command. Finally, install the latest version of post-GRE SQL with the sudo apt-get install post-GRE SQL command. When your installation of post-GRE SQL on Ubuntu is completed, it is time to connect the post-GRE SQL database server via PSQL. In post-GRE SQL, a user account is referred to as a role. When you installed post-GRE SQL, the installation process created a user account called PostGRES, which is associated with the default PostGRES role. To connect to PostGRE SQL using the PostGRES role, you need to switch over to the PostGRES account on your server by typing sudo-i-u postgres. It'll prompt for the password of the current user. You need to provide the password and hit the Enter or Return key on your keyboard. In this case, the password we set is root. Then, you can access PostGRE SQL using PSQL by typing the following command, psql. You'll access the PostGRES prompt like this. To quit the PostGRE SQL prompt, you just need to type \q. This command will bring you back to the PostGRES Linux command prompt. To return to your regular system user, you simply execute the exit command using exit. The last step of setting up the PostGRE SQL database is to create the PostGRE SQL database. First, type sudo-u postgres psql to access the PostGRES. Next, create FS3 PostGRES SQL database and create user and password as root. Then, grant all privileges on database FS3 to root. Last, log out of PostGRES by typing \q. Now, let's move on to the second step. Install from source code. We'll split this step into two parts. Check out the source code and build the source code. Checking out source code is relatively simple, and it only requires 3 command lines. First, use git clone to download the code from the GitHub repository of FileSwan to the user's local. Then, use cd to get into the FS3 folder. Last, check out release branch. Switch it from the main branch to the corresponding branch. You can find your release branch on the top of the GitHub page. In this case, fill in release V2.0.0. Now that checking out source code is complete, let's move to the next part, build source code. Building source code requires several steps. First, build UI browser. Second, install Filecoin dependency. Third, install Go module dependency. Fourth, build up tables in PostGRE SQL database. Fifth, set up FS3 configuration. And finally, build up FS3 server by using the make command. Let's go step by step. To build the UI browser, first use cd to enter the browser folder. Since Node.js is one of the prerequisites, you can use npm install and npm run release here to build the UI browser. After that, the dependency of Filecoin needs to be installed. Another dependency that needs to be installed is the Go module dependency. First, you need to return to the previous folder. Next, use the git submodule update command and make ffi command to build the dependency for the Go module. Now that 2 dependencies are completed, let's create tables and sequences by using the bash db_setup.sh command. Here, users are asked to fill in their corresponding password from the PostGRE SQL database. Since we set root as the password, we'll fill in root here. After all the dependencies and dataset are ready, the next step is to set up customized configurations. Use vim.env to modify the file based on your use case. When you get into the configuration page, you should see variables in green. I'll be showing you how to fill these variables. Swan address is the address of the FileSwan platform. The default address is api.fileswan.com. Usually, this port does not need to be changed from default. FS3 volume address is the address of FS3 volume where the uploaded data is stored. The default is FS3-data. Usually, this part does not need to be changed from default. If changed, the FS3 server start command has to be changed accordingly. FS3 wallet address. This address needs to be modified by the user according to their wallet address. The user can choose their wallet address from the imported Lotus wallet address and put it here. A wallet address is necessary for sending deals to miners. If you need more information about how to create and receive a wallet address, I strongly encourage you to go to our FS3 GitHub page to obtain relevant links and instructions there. A fixed car file size in bytes needs to be predefined before generating car files for trunk via variable car file size, such as 858.993.4592 for 8 GB as default. Users can also set up car file size as 16 GB or 32 GB. IPFS API address. An available IPFS address with port needs to be set up in the format myIPFSURL:/port. Firstly, find the configuration file of the IPFS node, which is located at .ipfs/config by default. Secondly, look up API in the addresses section of the config file. Thirdly, transform the API URL into the form myIPFSURL:/port. For example, you need to transform IP4/192.168.88.41/TCP/5001 into 127.0.0.1:5001. Check IPFS docs or our FS3 GitHub README page for more information on IPFS node configuration. IPFS gateway. An available IPFS address with port needs to be set up for file downloading in the format myIPFSGatewayURL:/port. Firstly, find the configuration file of IPFS node, which is located at .ipfs/config by default. Secondly, look up gateway in the addresses section of the config file. Thirdly, transform the gateway URL into the form myIPFSURL:/port. For example, transform IP4/192.168.88.41/TCP/5001 into 127.0.0.1:5001. The process is similar to IPFS API address. Check IPFS docs or our FS3 GitHub README page for more information on IPFS gateway configuration. Swan token. A valid Swan token is required for posting tasks on the Swan platform. It can be received after creating an account on FileSwan. Check FileSwan APIs for more details on how to get an authorization token. You can also check your Swan token with Web Inspector when you log into FileSwan. Lotus Client API URL. A valid Lotus endpoint is required to connect to a Lotus node. The Lotus node comes with its own local API endpoint. Firstly, find the Lotus configuration file, which is located at .lotus/config.toml by default. Secondly, look up listen address in the API section of the config.toml file. Thirdly, transform the Lotus API address found into the correct format. For example, transform the endpoint IP4/0.0.0/TCP/1234/HTTP found in the config file into 127.0.0.1:1234/RPC/V0. Check IPFS docs or our FS3 GitHub README page for more information on Lotus configuration. Lotus Client Access Token. An admin permission token is required to communicate with the Lotus API endpoints. PSQL host refers to the host name of the machine on which the server is running. The default is :127.0.0.1. PSQL user refers to the user's name to connect to the database. You must have permission to do so. Here the default user is root. PSQL password is the password for connecting to a database if password authentication is required. The default is root. PSQL DB name is the name of the database you want to connect to. The default is FS3. PSQL port is the database server port to which you want to connect. The default is 5432. After you have filled all the configurations, click Escape to exit the insert mode, and type :WQ to save and quit. The next step is to build up the FS3 server by using the make command. Now, the phase of installing from source has been completed. The last step is to run a standalone FS3 server. Run the minioserver fs3-data command. When it is completed, you should have the access to the FS3 browser. You can see there is a sentence that says, IAM initialization complete. Now, you have successfully installed Fileswan FS3. Next, please use the browser address shown on the command line page to access the FS3 browser. When you open the FS3 browser, you need an access key and a secret key to log in. To use FS3 services, first you need to create a bucket by clicking the red circle in the bottom left corner. I created a bucket here called YouTube. Then you can upload files inside of the YouTube bucket. For single files, once your file is uploaded on FS3, you will see 3 dots on the right side of the file. The operations to the single file include delete object, share object, backup to Filecoin, and download object. FS3 also provides bucket level operations, including delete bucket, retrieval, and backup to Filecoin. By clicking the 3 dots next to the bucket, you should be able to see these options. Users can back up the entire volume with customized schedulers. For example, backup daily or backup weekly to the Filecoin Network. On the FS3 Backup dashboard page, you can check your backup jobs and rebuild jobs. You can create a new backup plan by choosing the Backup Plans page. You can check all of your backup jobs and rebuild jobs by clicking Jobs on the menu bar on the left side. If you are interested in learning more about FS3 services, please check out our Fileswan website documentation page. If you have any questions about FS3 installation, please check out our FS3 GitHub page for more information, or join our Telegram or Discord and leave messages there. Our team is here to help. Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe and follow our social media links below.